Hi, I'm Suzanne Barron, founder of Illuminati Exposed. You can purchase my books on Amazon. They're $9.99 for the Kindle version, $14.95 for the paperback. If you have Kindle Unlimited subscription, then it's completely free for you. I was sitting here talking to my daughter about some of the things that I had experienced with these voices. Um, Sorry about that. So I was talking about my experiences with these voices and how it can affect people. It's just different things. Like right now, the house is quiet. I did just get my daughter back. So the room that I had, made mine, I've given over to her. Taken over the couch. That's the right thing to do. But the house is quiet. I've got nobody in here chattering. I don't have a television on. My mom's in her room, my daughter's in her room. And I got the door open, front door. That's pretty much the only noise that's coming in. And it's kind of quieter around in the town, so there's a lot less noise. And because it's quiet, I can hear voices coming from outside, right? Like there's people, like the spirits are talking and I can hear them. And like right now they're humming. They're humming because I'm on a right track. And they're not the havoc voices, they're not demons, those are angels. And for the person who doesn't know what's happening, like for me in the past, hearing like somebody talking, like sometimes they're just talking. And let's say like this kitchen over here. Okay, I'm sitting here in the living room. Let's say I'm just doing something, Facebooking, whatever. And I haven't figured these things out. And for the normal person that's experiencing this, they hear somebody talking in their kitchen. That's what they hear. They hear voices talking in their kitchen. This is something that schizophrenic people they deal with. And for the person who I guess at this point hasn't figured out that they're schizophrenic, they're mentally sick, right? Mentally sick. It's scary. Who's in my kitchen? I go in the kitchen, there's nobody there. Well, then that must mean that somebody's talking in this area, right? So like maybe this wall. So who's talking? Somebody's got a two-way in my wall. You start putting your ear to the wall, and because your ear's up to the wall, sometimes it actually does like gets louder when your ear's to the wall. Well, that's because you've closed up your ear a little bit, right? And now you can hear the inner stuff too. And it's that wall's concrete. So concrete echoes. You ever been in jail and you hear the echo in the jails? Because everything's made out of concrete. You get a room that doesn't have any like sound deadeners. The voices echo, like people talking, normal human beings talking in a room. That's why they put pads on walls to keep the sound from echoing. And for the person who is just now starting to experience these things, they might think FBI is after me, or my neighbors have done this, or they they start thinking these things, and it becomes like a havoc situation. You start putting your ear to the wall, and you got your family looking at you like you're crazy. And if for those people who are on drugs, it's the drugs doing it. But then there's people that don't use drugs and they still experience it. Like for an instance, I was not high. I was not using drugs when I was going through my stuff. I still hear them. I'm not high. I'm not on drugs. But it could be really bad like that. Like sometimes it's hard for me to word these things. Um, but what else could it be? I'm not mentally sick. I don't. It's not a mental sickness. And when it's creating havoc on your life, that's when the doctors say you're mentally sick. But then there's plenty of people that are experiencing these voices like I am now, and I can function and live my life. And am I still mentally sick? I can go to work. I not putting my ears to the walls. I can function. I can focus. I can do all of those things. So is it a mental illness? I can live my life normally. Am I still mentally sick? I think why it becomes so bad is because like in this instance, like let's say I hear them, they're humming right now. So like if I hadn't figured this out, like in the past, if it hit like this, and it has. I can look back and I can see like I did hear voices that weren't bad, and because I didn't know that what I was listening to and what I could hear was spirits, that I rejected it, and because I rejected the gift that was given to me by God, I made it demonic. I rejected those voices. I rejected when Jesus called my name, Suzanne, like Eli, Samuel and Eli. I rejected it. If you haven't seen my footages before, you know, Jesus says he will call his sheep by their name and they will recognize his voice. So in our world today, that's when I heard on Arlene's Lane my name get called, but I thought it was humans calling my name. So there's a story in about Samuel's First Samuel 3 starts 3:4, where Samuel was in bed and God comes to him, the Father comes to him and says, Samuel, Samuel. And Samuel rushes up out of bed and he runs to Eli and he says, yes, what? You called me. And Eli said, I didn't call you. And so he went to bed. This happened 3 times. So each time, though, Samuel got up and he rushed up, like anxious, like, what do you want? You're calling me. We experience this in the world. People in their homes, they hear their name get called. Nobody's there. I heard my name on that property. I thought it was human. Samuel thought it was human. I hear voices right now. I hear, like I said, they're humming right now. But for somebody who doesn't know that that is a spirit they hear, they start freaking out because it's scary. Who's in my home? Who put something in my wall? Who did all these things? What are you doing? Who's hurting me? The police, the neighbors, my friends, my family. Um, and then the spirits, they begin to make a joke out of it. The demonic spirits laugh. They laugh at you because they recognize that you don't see God in it. And so what an opportunity to torture you. What an opportunity to torture you because they know that you don't recognize that this is God. And we're not preaching this in the world today. We're not preaching this in the world today at all. I'm the only person I've ever known to even say these things. Um, and then you're like mentally sick. Now, like, I also think, it could have been the sinful life that I was living. I was hustling a little bit. I wasn't living, like right now, I'm living a basically normal Christian sinless life. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty close. Not on drugs. I don't have a boyfriend that I'm sleeping with. I'm not stealing and hustling. I'm not doing any of those things. Like, I got many times got put in position to where I saw an opportunity and I took it. And I'm just being real with you. Um, I hustled. I'm just being real. I gotta pay my bills or whatever, and that's a sinful life. And that's where like those people they have those demons in them for that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I was always living a sinful life. It wasn't my daily activity. Like I wasn't actively living every single day like that. Um, I was when I did it, I was caught in a situation to where I was desperate. Have you ever been like that? Just desperate? The right thing is to just deal with your desperateness and to not fall into that trap. And I see that now. I see that now. I've always known it to be true. Um, but I see now how important it really is to just say no to that opportunity because that is Satan placing something in front of me that tests me, tempts me, easy money. I mean, I'm just being real. But that's sinful. And even though I knew it was sinful, I still did it, thereby making those voices demonic or also rejecting the voice of Jesus that was calling me. Um, I mean, literally, I have spent days with my ear glued to the wall, listening, trying to find the bug. I was telling my daughter about how I thought I had figured out like where the electronic device was coming from, and I walked outside around a house that I was renting from, a room, and it was like this happened before Olene's Lane. So yeah, sometimes I have to remind myself that there was little bitty things that happened before I reached Olene's Lane, but that I don't recognize them because it was so minute and it only was like short time, like it was just a short period. Like I spent 16 months on my property. Wait, I left in February of 2022, this year, and I moved on to purchased it um October. And I moved on to it October and I purchased it December of 2022. So, or 2020. So that's almost 2 years. And that's why I relate to that, because that's where it happened. But previously to that, I did have a room, and there was like this irrigation system pump device. I didn't even know what it was at the time because I'd never seen sprinklers go off at this house. Didn't know we had it, and I was like 100% convinced that something was coming through that device, or that was the electronic device. And I took these snippers and I snipped the wire, and it went pop, and I could be dead today if I had not been holding rubber handled snippers. The fact that those were rubber is what saved my life. I think about how easy that could have been. I could be dead right now. Just trying to find the bug in my wall. Crazy, right? Hi. No. Functioning. Sober. Was living a sinful life, definitely in that house. For all of these things, all these voices, everything I went through, I eventually sought help because of the women and children I believed were getting hurt. I sought help for them. Um, I wouldn't fall for, at that time, I wasn't even talked to about mental illness. But I'm not mentally ill. I was not mentally ill. And when I finally did, people started talking to me about, like, you're sick, or you're looking crazy, or you need medical help. I refused it. I've never taken any type of prescriptions for this. And because I don't believe in mental illness like this. I never really believed in mental illness. I've always grown up in church thinking that anxiety and depression and all that stuff stems from your life. It's what gets into you. We know this in church. It's what gets into you that creates trauma, the trauma that you have in your life, the depression, the all of that stuff, like the low self-esteem, and all that stuff is a demonic spirit. It's an evil spirit that you've lived your life, and it's caused you all this trauma in your life. And so that's why it's inwardly affected you, and have always believed that. And it is very much true. It's evil that's getting in you. So mental illness is the same thing. We see I'm not mentally ill, and I'm no longer living my life with my ear to the wall trying to figure out what I hear inside of the kitchen, but there's nothing in the kitchen, so it must be the wall. Why are they humming? Who's humming right now? What are you doing? Those are spirits. Jesus spoke to spirits. 1 John 4:1 tells you to test the spirits. We preach spirits all day long in church. Spirits, demons, angels. Do you not believe that they're real? I don't understand this process. A mental health counselor teaches a Sunday school service, and he says it's mental illness. But yet you preach the Bible, and you read it every day, and it speaks about demons and angels. And it talks about Jesus talks about Jesus speaking to spirits. Paul spoke to a spirit. Solomon spoke to a spirit. Moses spoke to a spirit. They heard a voice that they could not see. Nobody was standing around them when these spirits spoke to them. I'm telling you, world, you are not schizophrenic. If you are having havoc from your voices, it is either because you're living a sinful life, or because you don't know what's happening to you and then making a joke out of it. They say brain markers make up mental illness. Somebody said I was taking God out of science. Actually, I'm saying that science proves God. There's a verse in Hebrews, I can't remember where it's at. It says, all things that are visible are created by things that are invisible. A brain marker that creates mental illness to the insane looked person. I bet I wouldn't have a brain marker in my head right now. Maybe I would. I don't know. Maybe I have a CAT scan. Couldn't tell you. Not mentally sick. That's a spirit demon, right? You've got cancer cells. Those are demons. You've got white blood cells. That's God. You've got viruses. That's Satan. You've got antibodies that your body creates. That's God. In biblical times, they didn't have science to say these things. Jesus didn't know what an antibody was. He didn't know what a white blood cell was. He didn't know what a cancer cell was. But we do, because we have science. I'm not taking God out of science. Science is taking God out of science. I'm trying to show where science is with God. God breathes life, makes life, creates life inside the woman, forms the baby with his hand. Why is that? Because he lives in us. He's inside of me right now. And if I were to get pregnant, he would form that child with his hand. That's science that creates the baby. All of that, my body creating a baby, that's God. Gives birth, it's God. Sicknesses, Satan. Infection, little, get your microscope out and look at all the little virus infections and all those things that are created sickness that we can see. We can see that now. Jesus couldn't. That's a demon. We know this because Jesus healed all ailments, all sicknesses, all diseases, and he called them impure spirits. He called them demons. My mom is dying. She's not dying. She's not dying. I'm sorry. But she's slowly dying, right? She takes prescriptions. She's in the hospital 4 or 5 times a week. Getting, like today, I picked up 3 prescriptions for her. I'm picking up prescriptions for her all the time for all of her sicknesses. Each prescription has got a side effect. Her body, because she's on one prescription, it creates a side effect. Now she's sick. She's got to take another prescription to alternate that side effect, thereby making another side effect for her to alternate, and another one to alternate. It's the pharmaceutical industry that's the problem. Mentally ill? Go on, strange cat. Sorry. Mentally sick? Prescription drugs. Straight. Hang on, sorry. Got a door wide open. Stray cat walking in to eat food. I think that's pretty much it, though. Please subscribe to my page. Please follow. Please help support me in this ministry. Share my footages. Purchase the books. Donate them. If you want to, I've said this one before, I believe. If you want to donate, if you do get to where you want to donate books, I can get them for you at a cheaper cost. You would just have to hit me up on Facebook, and we could go from there. There would be a bulk order, value. You buy more, you always save money. That's how that goes. It works that way with me too, like every week I donate, personally, I donate 4 books to random jails. Every paycheck. And it's a slow process, but I think that's the right move. And I could use your support with this. Thank you.